What is up, MMA fans? This is Tudor Leonte for Sherdog, and welcome back on the first interview of 2022. Today, I have the pleasure to talk again with one championship bantamweight fighter, Mr. Troy Worthen. Hello, Troy. Welcome back on Sherdog. How are you today?
Happy to be back, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time, sir, as always. How did you spend holiday season?
For me, I'm in fight camp, so I just spent preparing. I didn't go out and celebrate or anything. Me and my wife just stayed in and stayed away from too many people because I don't want to catch Omicron and not be able to compete. So I stayed to myself pretty much.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I can guess it must be hard, for you fighters especially. But are you going, I don't know, to celebrate after your victory? Are you going to do something in particular?
Oh yeah, well, when I get back, then we have a trip planned. So I have to make up for taking Christmas and New Year's off. So we're probably gonna go to New York City and go walk around the city and enjoy the good food and have a good time up there.
Well, sir, I believe you will deserve it. So you are scheduled to make your return on January the 14th at One Heavy Hitters, where you are set to face Shuya Kamikubo. I recall that I asked about him in our last interview in April 2021, so I'm not going to ask you the same questions again. But that time, you and Kamikubo were supposed to clash at One on TNT, and the matchup fell off the card. What happened?
So basically, One had contacted me while I was flying over and said that an opportunity might be presented for me to be in the main event because the Team Lakai fighter that was supposed to fight Lineker in the main event tested positive for COVID, so he wasn't able to make it over. I didn't actually find out that I was for sure going to fight Lineker until I got off the scale at weigh-ins. So it was kind of an idea, and there was negotiations back and forth throughout the week, but I was unsure. So I was kind of preparing for both guys. But yeah, I didn't get a contract for Lineker until I got off the scale at weigh-ins. So they ended up offering me that fight, and I wasn't going to pass up fighting the #1 guy in the world. So I was ready. I felt more than prepared. And obviously it didn't go my way, but I'm going to take that risk over and over again.
Okay, let's talk then about your fight with John Lineker. The result wasn't the one you were expecting that time, as you lost in the opening round. First of all, what went wrong? From your point of view in the cage.
I mean, in all honesty, I don't think anything really went wrong per se, as when you fight a guy like Lineker, if you have a lapse of judgment or a bad moment, then you could go to sleep, and that's what happened. I think that's just part of the sport. You can be the better fighter and lose. We just saw Sergio Pettis get dominated for like 4 rounds to Kyoji Horiguchi, and then he knocked him out. Do you think that Sergio is a superior fighter? I mean, maybe, but the 4 rounds of dominance from Kyoji say something else. So I don't think per se anything went wrong. Obviously, I didn't have the best game plan because I had about 12 hours to get ready for him. I had been preparing for a pure grappler, so there's a lot of footwork and moving backwards that I was trying to implement, and then I couldn't really get that out of my head. Taking the fight with Lineker on such short notice, I wish I would have stood my ground and exchanged with him a little bit more. Maybe I wouldn't get caught with some of those hooks coming out of the pocket. But, I think I just need more preparation. I didn't prepare for a guy that's going to sit there and brawl with me. I prepared for a grappler for 8 weeks. So it was hard to get these little things that I was working on out of my head. But at the end of the day, hats off to him. He caught me. I went to sleep, and, I'm looking forward to getting that one back in the future.
So do you believe that with a full camp, would you perform better against Lineker and perhaps defeat him?
I think if I fought him the next night, I could beat him. I think it just comes down to sometimes you just have a bad night. You get caught. Yeah, I think I was more than prepared. I think I could have beat him. Obviously didn't have the optimal game plan, but yeah, with 8 weeks, I'm pretty sure that I could beat John Lineker.
I know that Lineker was scheduled to face Bibiano Fernandes for the title before the end of the year. Unfortunately, that fight was postponed. Actually, the whole event was rescheduled, postponed. Actually, just postponed due to to the resurgence of COVID-19 cases. But
Yeah.
I would like to ask you, in your opinion, who do you think would win that fight?
It's hard to say, man. Honestly, I think if Bibiano can get him to the ground early, I think Bibiano could probably submit him. I think Bibiano's jiu-jitsu is probably the best in MMA, period. And if John can stop it and turn it into a brawl, he can knock anybody out. He just has to land one of those shots. Bibiano is a little bit older. He has a lot of miles on him. So maybe John could clip him and put him away. If Bibiano does get the takedown, he probably submits John. So I think it just comes down to who can impose their will.
In case of victory with Kamikubo, are you going to ask for a rematch with Lineker?
I think I'm a little far off. I dropped that decision to Yusup Saadulaev, then obviously I got knocked out in the first round. So I think I just need to focus on Kamikubo right now, get this win, and then we'll see what happens next. But I'm not in a rush anymore. When I first got signed to one, I was so excited to just be on a large organization. I wanted to fight everybody every week, and these past 2 years, it's been a life lesson for me. And this past year for sure has been rough, but it's made me do a lot of reflecting. And I'm more excited about just developing myself as a martial artist instead of just building my record. I don't really care about the record as much. So after Kamikubo, I'm just looking to get better, and whoever's name come across the desk for me to sign, and then I'll sign the contract and we go fight.
The bantamweight division in one championship is quite stacked, and someone actually could argue that bantamweight in general is becoming quite the most entertaining division across all MMA organizations, and I would agree. Do you think that if you win this fight, are you going to be ranked in the top 5 in one championship?
I think Kamikubo is either number 3 or number 4. So, if you beat him, you think you take that spot, but it's hard to say. Me coming off the 2 losses, who knows? I don't really even know who decides on the rankings. But the number next to my name doesn't really mean anything to me. I think anybody, especially in one championship's bantamweight division, like you said, it's super deep. Anybody can win on any given night. I don't think the number really means anything other than, who's getting a shot at the title first. But yeah, I think the weight class is so deep, the number doesn't really matter. Any one of these guys could beat anybody.
Except Kamikubo, is there anyone in particular you would like to, to face in the future?
No one in particular, really. There's definitely a lot of exciting fights in the division. You got guys that are knocking everybody out, like Kwan Il and Fabricio Andrade. You got great grapplers. Maybe one day I'd like to get that fight back against Yusup. I think definitely didn't perform well in that one. I think it was kind of a boring fight for everybody. So maybe I could go clean that one off my record. But, no one specific. I'm just looking to go get busy and make a paycheck.
Unfortunately, COVID-19 cases are surging again all over the world. Are you worried that the event where you're supposed to fight can be postponed, or I don't know about perhaps your fight in particular can be canceled due to some COVID-19 cases?
Yeah, man. That's a thought every single day. I'm really scared. I put in a full camp. I'm ready to go. I need to go make money and provide for my family. So, I just got my RT-PCR test done today. I'm waiting for the results, and who knows, one positive test, my fight could be scratched. Singapore could shut back down. So, pretty much my camp is wrapped up. I'm ready to go, but I'm still day to day just very worried that maybe the fight doesn't happen. I'm grateful that One Championship has events going on right now, but me being in the United States and then One Championship being based out of Singapore right now, it's a daily thought that maybe I won't have a job soon, or they won't be able to have events and get us over. So, it's definitely in the back of my mind, but I'm just trying to stay focused on the task at hand, and that's beating Shuya Kamikubo on January 14th.
Yeah, for you guys, it only adds pressure to the camp, the fight, and for you, that someone who has to travel all over the world, it's complicated. It adds difficulties for for the fight itself. What are your goals for 2022?
Definitely get back in the win column. So start off with beating Shuya Kamikubo, and I would like to get a little more fights than my last 2 years. Definitely COVID has caused some issues. And I had an injury, and when I was prepared, I was, healthy and ready to go back in August, and I ended up breaking my nose in sparring. So that set me back about 12 weeks. I just want to be busy. I want to be working my way back towards the top, towards that belt. So I can't have my name back along the likes of John Lineker and Bibiano Fernandes, and, just become a better martial artist and a better person. Maybe people might not believe me, but I really don't do this for money or fame or for popularity. I do this because I love martial arts. So I'm just trying to get better every single day at that and prove myself.
Where do you see yourself in your path as a martial artist?
Right now, I'm still young. I'm still feeling good. To be completely frank, I compete right now because I feel like this is the time for me to do it, but I love coaching more than anything in the world. So you never know. If the right opportunity presents itself, then I could be done as an athlete and start as a coach within the next 2 years, or I could compete for the next 10 years. It just really comes down to where I'm at on a daily basis, and there's a million different things that could happen. I could get injured. Gyms could shut down. There could be a point where I can't get back over to Singapore to compete in One Championship, and I need to start doing something over here. But I'm just along for the journey. Martial arts is a lifelong journey. I'm not just doing this for a job, then I retire, I go do something else. I will always be training in martial arts. So I think I'm still pretty young in my martial arts career.
Well, of course, I agree. And would you like to test yourself in some other combat sport? Consider, like you said, that you embrace the whole martial artist, mentality.
Yeah, I would definitely love to get on some of these grappling tournaments. I am a grappler. I think I can beat a lot of these guys. So maybe start doing some of these jiu-jitsu tournaments, these like no-gi submission only jiu-jitsu tournaments, maybe combat jiu-jitsu worlds. I joked around when I first got signed to one that before I retired, I was going to take a kickboxing or Muay Thai fight. So the right opponent, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm definitely open to competing in different martial arts or different rule sets, or maybe special rule sets versus a fighter from a different, maybe like a Thai fighter where we have takedowns 1 round, like the Rod Tang and Demetrius Johnson fight. I'm open to anything, I'm a competitor at heart. So if there's a way to win, and yeah, I'm down for it.
Well, hopefully it will happen one day. I'm really curious, to see you both in MMA and in other sports, if you will decide to do that. Sir, before I let you go, do you have any last message?
Tune in on January 14th because Pretty Boy's back, and I'm gonna do some fun stuff in the cage.
Troy, thank you very much for your time today. Best of luck with your upcoming fight, and hopefully I will hear again from you in the future.
Thank you so much, man. Have a good day.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.